Hello, my name is Vipin, and I'm here to give you a quick overview of the personal financial well-being dashboard that you get as a part of your Insider Plus subscription. This dashboard is supposed to be a one-stop and a quick overview of everything that is related to your personal finance situation. As you can see, there are certain sections that this dashboard has been divided into, some of the most important ones, in fact. With all the input that is captured throughout this worksheet, we summarize it here in these sections. The first one, of course, is family. Who are the people for which this money, these goals, these investments matter to, right? Then we come to the net worth section, which summarizes for you what is your current net worth divided into assets and liabilities. What is the liquidity of your portfolio? How much money can reach you in a week? What is the current allocation of your assets across various asset classes? This is something which most people really don't know. I mean, once only after they have put in their numbers in the sheet, uh, they realize that this is the real allocation that they have. Uh, this is a very important section. Uh, Not all your assets are available for goals, right? There are, for example, there's a house that you have been staying in. You would not want to sell it, right? There's no income coming from it, but you stay in it, right? So while it is a part of a net worth, it is not a part of the portfolio that is made available for goals, right? So we work with that number when we allocate money to the various goals that you have out listed for your plan. This then goes on to tell you the estimated value of a portfolio when you retire, right? This number is dynamic based on what retirement age you enter into the inputs. This will tell you this is the likely number that you will have uh, at the time of your retirement, which is a combination of the money that you already have, the new money that you will be adding from your savings, and the growth in that portfolio. This also takes into account the fact that you will be paying for some of the goals during the the time period from now to the retirement, and then from the time of your retirement, you you have an estimate as to what are you likely to leave behind for someone else in your family, the dependents, the kids, for that matter, right? So typically we take a life expectancy about 90 or more, and in this case we have said that we have realized that this money, which is currently say 3 crores here, goes on to become 99 crores approximately, and that too after meeting all the goals, after providing for all your post-retirement expenses. This is the money that is left at the age of 90. This The two important things that I would like to mention are: one, this is based on a thorough scenario analysis, right? There are thousand scenarios that are run to figure out what is the median average kind of a number that you will see at those ages. Okay, this also includes the fact that with equity investments, there might be years when a loss is returned in the portfolio. For example, in this particular case, about 20%, 21% of investment years are in losses, and yet you get to see these numbers. And of course, one of the key inputs for this portfolio is that 30% of this money is invested in equity at all times. Rebalancing happens and things like those, but 30% is invested in equity at all times. Then we move on to the emergency funds. We all know that there has to be an emergency fund set aside to take care of some of our most important needs if something were to strike, right? Something that can leave us without a job, without an income for an extended period of time. So how do we meet those expenses then, our key expenses, and what is the preparation today for them, right? So this section helps you understand that, and of course there's a lot more details. As you use the workbook, you'll come to know. Of course, the next most important section is the protection. How do you use how well are you insured and protected against various risks, financial risks that can leave a deep hole in your pocket. And as we have maintained, and you probably already know by now, there are three key risks that we need to look after. One is the life risk, which is if something happens to you, what do your dependents do? How do you provide enough money for them? Then there is the health one, which is that if you are in a hospital, how do you take care of the bills? And finally, accident and disability. Now, this is like a combination of life and health in some sense, and disability is actually the more important parameter here. You live, but you are not able to work. You're not economically, uh, engaged. So there's no income, right? And yet you need to provide for the various needs of the family and yourself, right? So how do you provide for that? This section allows you to see, based on again various inputs that you provide, what is the ideal cover that you should be having, and right, and if you already have something, then against that ideal cover, what is the gap that you need to fill up, right? It's one important gap that you are identifying here, the protection gap. Well, of course, the entire financial planning exercise is about understanding how are you faring on your goals, and how likely are you to meet those goals, right? So we have used, as I said earlier, elaborate scenario analysis to help you see what are your key goals, how much money have you allocated for those goals, the number of years it needs to be provided for in terms of those goals need to be provided for, what are the monthly savings required from now on, right? You might have already allocated some savings from your existing investments, but there are additional savings that are required. What is that saving? And finally, how much of the goal has been completed as of now? Okay. Now, and of course, the most important thing is again saying within this goals timeline is the confidence that finally this goal will be achieved, right? How likely is that going to be? And in this case, as we can see, all goals have a very high chance of being achieved. Okay. This also tells you that your funds, which in this case the person who is involved, uh, they are going to be expected to last till full age, right? Which means, as we saw here, he's going to leave behind a legacy, right? And hence he will be able to provide for entire post-retirement period. Now, to achieve these goals, of course, you need to make ongoing savings, and that's the analysis that runs here. Uh, what are your current annual savings across various investments? What is the required saving? This is actually the total of this number here, and hence what is the gap, right? This is the number which tells you what will be the one-time additional savings needed today as a lump sum. So basically, if you have this number, you can just quit, right? You don't need to work anymore. Your goals are taken care of. You can do what you want, right? So it's just for understanding. I know this number could be very high for anyone, but for understanding, you need get to see this number at least. Of course, these numbers are then converted into percentages and gives you a fair sense of what you need to do. Now, we looked at the asset allocation of the current investments. We are also looking at the asset allocation of the current savings, right? For example, if someone is short on equity and that allocation needs to go up for reaching the goals, we also need to analyze where are the existing investments going. As we can see in this case, the existing investments are also going into fixed income, right? That's not what we want. We want to change that ratio, and this table tells you, right, that this is the gap that needs to be corrected or filled up. Finally, there's a short piece on tax planning based on again various inputs that you will provide. You'll come to know for Section 80C and Section 80D what are the max allowed, and then where do you stand today, how much are you already doing. So this is a quick overview of the personal financial well-being dashboard. As you can see, this is one place where you can know everything that you need to know about your money matters. I look forward to seeing you as a part of Insider Plus. Thank you.